We have Suzanne to thank for this request of a wonderful piece of British folk revival, Shirley Collins, Hares on the Mountain. This is Matt Redman.
Although, having said that, it is a much older folk song.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Has a root number and everything.
Shirley Collins, you know.
That's Patricia Hammond. You just said that. Living room request. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, Sally, my dear, it's you I'd be kissing. Oh, Sally, my dear, it's you I'd be kissing. She smiled and replied, you don't know what you're missing. Oh, Sally, my dear, I wish I could wed you. Oh, Sally, my dear, I wish I could bed you. She smiled and replied, then you'd say I'd misled you. If all you young men were hares on the mountain, if all you young men were hares on the mountain, how many young girls would take guns and go hunting? If the young men could sing like blackbirds and thrushes, if the young men could sing like blackbirds and thrushes, how many young girls would go beating the bushes? If all you young men were fish in the water, if all you young men were fish in the water, how many young girls would undress and dive after? If all you young men were rushes a-growing, if all you young men were rushes a-growing, how many young girls would take scythes and go mowing? But the young men are given to frisking and fooling. But the young men are given to frisking and fooling. So I'll leave them alone and attend to my schooling. Thank you so much, Suzanne. That was wonderful. I've been a fan of Shirley Collins for some time, and of course, the danger Matt will know this, is a business of don't listen to somebody too much, otherwise you'll imitate them. But to be honest, I have to give myself even this little bit of credit, is that once you start performing something, hopefully the piece of music, if it's strong enough, should take over and you forget completely what the other person sounded like.
I took inspiration.
He was very creative and interesting.
And,
yes.
I chose to play the zither banjo. Not
show the back.
The
show
most
the back. You have to show the back.
Of all instruments in the world, but it is still a banjo, and it does still have a very sharp V-neck. It does. It's timed today. Probably fast approaching. It's like 140 odd birthday.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds ancient somehow. Why does it sound so ancient? What's ancient about the tuning, the sound? You know what I mean?
I think on that particular occasion, it was the use of the drone string, which is very typically banjo, and the use of the minor pentatonic scale, which that's
not afraid to use a drone.
That's a sound used in folk music, pretty much. I would go and say across the world.
Yeah.
On various different primitive,
multicultural,
sounding instruments and modern instruments, and I guess it's the whole
primitive. I don't think it's supposed to use that word anymore because it has implications.
No, I would
which aren't
say
quite
no. Let me just say, they were some of the first sounds, and when you base things on like harmonic series and that sort of thing, that's how music sort of came about. I mean, I'm not an expert on what do you call it? Civilization music, i.e., people when there were only nomadic peoples and no towns in the non-written down era. I mean, I'm sure there are on the internet, but you can probably bet that they use pentatonic scales and, you know,
well, it's what you hear. It's what you hear when you're in a cave and like I've been many times, and the wind is blowing against it. There's certain sounds certain modes that you hear in nature.
Yeah, I mean, this is not my specialism. I
make
don't know what my specialism is, but that's what I've noticed based on nature and observing very, very old folk musics from across the globe. So I'd say that, and I would say, in addition, the sound of it's a quiet sound, and it is a natural sound. This is plastic strings, but of course on the zither banjo would be gut strings, and then of course the animal skin stretched over always. You know, that's a. So I'm going to use this word again, but that's a very primitive sound. I mean, surely they were some of the first instruments, like drum type things.
Okay, yeah.
Stretchy animal string over thingy. What's it? And that sounds.
What do scholars use now instead of primitive? I think they use another term. There's another term, and I'm not up on it.
Early something.
No, there's something. There's
early
another
human.
Term. Put it in the description. What is used now instead of the word. But it's interesting in folk music. I don't know. I found myself in that one.
I mean, it's still constant. Like same scale is used in, you know, hits that are like constant current.
Yeah, of course. Give us an example right now.
Well, there must be one.
Yeah, there's probably loads.
Hang on, there is. One came out last week.
Oh, you see, you asked me a question.
And I heard it.
And he will answer it. He will give you an answer.
It's Charlie Puth's latest song. It came out end of August or second week of September, and it's a song about basically how happy he is with his new girlfriend, fiance actually. I can't remember what key it is in, but it's definitely got bits in it. But it's just not on a zither banjo, so it doesn't sound like it's from 1,000 years ago.
What an idiot that he didn't avail himself of that opportunity.
Not sure when this is going live on the internet, but that's relatively recent. But, you know, there's probably The Weeknd song that's out like today, and I bet you it has a pentatonic scaling because he's really sounding like the 80s, of course, and Michael Jackson is rooted in that.
Yeah, So anyway, I found myself when I was singing this holding the ends, the
that's
last
fine because you were creating primitive cave echoes.
It was just an interesting thing that I found myself doing because, you know, there's the words and then there's the reason you sing them. And the reason you sing them is because you need to emphasize the words. The words spoken won't do. So the business of, and so there was a lot in the last phrase of every stanza. So, you know, Sally, my dear, it's, you know, you don't know.
Oh, yeah, you don't know what you're missing.
And you don't know what you're missing, her answer. Or, you know, if all you young men were blackbirds and thrushes, how many young girls would go beating the bushes?
Yes.
And then it's the implication of the last
Basically,
statement.
you were singing a question mark.
Well,
you were singing a long question mark.
No, implying things. Implying what that means. And I felt the necessity of holding it. To let the echoes of the meaning just go. I don't know whether that picked up. It was more for my own sake than anybody else's, but it was an interesting impetus. Interesting, it was an interesting sort of thing that I felt like doing.
Well, we spend a little bit at the end of these videos
blah
talking
blah,
about
because
things like that
if
for
you're
people
bored,
who
you
are
can switch
interested.
off. It's no problem. It's
if
a free
you're still
country.
here, just let you know that this is Living Room Requests. It's a series where you make the request. You choose the request by going to patriciahammond.com/request and paying £40 British or equivalent on PayPal and saying, "Hi Patricia and Matt. We just wanted to say that we love the talking in that one when you're going off about cave sounds. And we've actually discovered this piece of music which is, supposedly from 15,000 BC. We wonder if you could play it.
If you want to hear cave sounds, the British Library, if you can somehow manage to go through their arcane and baroque, website and get to the sound collections. There's something from the Torres Strait expedition in the when was the Torres Strait expedition? It was around the turn of the century.
About 1890s, was it?
Yeah, about there. And the turn of that century. And they made these cylinder recordings of the people who were there who hadn't had any contact with.
Uncontacted.
Yeah. And it was the death whale is what I'm thinking of. It's one of the most amazing recordings ever made, in my opinion, because it's much earlier, let's put it that way, than 1890. It could be, 1090. It could be pre. Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Okay, so thank you very much for watching.
And thank you, Suzanne. Suzanne has made 3 requests for my birthday, which is coming up. Which is really nice of Suzanne, and that was her choice. And then the other one is my choice, and the other one is Matt's choice. Stay
tuned.
Matt's choice for me particularly was the stipulation.
Stay tuned.
So yeah, you'll find out what they are.
Click the bell if you want to be notified, or just press thumbs up.
If you want to be notified
if you don't want to go that far, just press thumbs up, and that counts for a lot.
We're just watching.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Suzanne.
See you later.